she can let us know by the end of today. Why? Well, I'm sorry. If you're saying this is happening on the 15th, why am I getting 24 hours to be able to respond to you? That doesn't make any sense. That, for some reason, feels like this is a BS offer and a really cheap PR move. There's no reason to issue a 24-hour response and put this up in the middle of the night, A. B, there's no reason you didn't reach out to me and say, hey, does this work? Can I check some flights, see if I can get in there? Nope. This is it. They put this up there on the 15th. The last week of our show is live. Obviously, leading up to Christmas, that's the last week of our show. Obviously, it's a pretty busy week. So I'm like, okay, caught off guard by this, but you know what? I sense this is a PR move. So let me say, you've already said it's live streamed. If an event is live streamed, of course, we can make it work any place. I mean, at any time, any day, we can make this happen, right? Because you're live streaming it. There's no reason I can't show up electronically, okay? I respond to him and I say this, kind of weird how you didn't email or call me to ask about times or availability and instead chose to tweet this confirmation out at midnight. Why am I learning about this on X? December 15th does not work in person. And 2 p.m. happens to also be the literal time that I do my podcast live every day, which you knew, but we will happily cancel the daily podcast and we'll join you guys virtually instead for the live stream on the 15th. If that works on your end, let's lock it in, question mark.
Virtual,
okay?
Yes.
We're jumping here. Let's make it happen. Okay? That's the beauty of the internet. That is the beauty of 2025. You can literally be any place, anytime. Just send me a link, right? Any place, anytime, we can join you virtually. In fact, today on their show, they had Andrew Colbert joining them virtually. So they have the tech capability to do this. We have tech capability to do this. Let's make this sincere and do this for people around the world who do not feel that you guys have been honest
reported ahead.
In terms of answers that you could obviously supply regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination. Well, if we needed any more evidence that nothing that they do is genuine and that this was an obvious planned PR move, here is what Blake tweeted out just now before we went live on the show. Yesterday, we made it clear that we would be scheduling a formal response to allegations and accusations that you have made. We have decided that that response will be delivered during a live stream, as he said, a live stream, on December 15th. Thank you for your response, letting us know that you will not be joining the in-person conversation. We will be proceeding without you. Why are you proceeding without me? To have a conversation that is about me. Why am I getting 24 hours to respond? Why do you need me there in person if you are trying to be sincere and answer the very many questions that I have brought up on this show? You guys weren't even sincere in what you said yesterday. You told some glaring lies about things that I have said. So we're supposed to trust that you guys are going to handle this discussion all by yourselves and respond to any and every allegation? And this isn't just some planned PR for once and for all. Like I said, this is so obvious. He is being completely destroyed in the comments because what's happening at Turning Point, I've seen this happen before, is they now believe that they are smarter than their audience, right? They think they are smarter than their small pocket donors. They can pull such an obviously crappy public move like this and pretend, well, we tried. You know, she said she could make it work and we tried, but it has to be physically, she needs to be in person, even though we have shown that we have people join us not in person and it's live streamed and we both have the tech abilities to do that. If she doesn't make this work within 24 hours, we can now say that it's on Candace. This is a disaster, okay? It is a dumpster fire. That's the only way to describe what is happening at Turning Point USA today and right now is a dumpster fire. Everyone can read this for what it is. As I said, they're getting destroyed in the comments. Like, really, guys? Really? You're not going to just send us a simple live stream link and let us join you? We've had people on this show live streamed. We can have them tomorrow. I said, in response, I said to them, I'll make this work. I also attached to that tweet any day leading up to the 15th. We can do this virtually any place and any time. But no, they need to have it in person in Phoenix on December 15th or they cannot have me at all. Is that passing the vibe check for you guys? Or does it seem like more posturing and more of a way for them to simply be in the room with themselves as they all lie without any person in the room to be able to fact check those lies, who have researched those lies and who have kept a list regarding the very many lies they are telling, okay? I maintain that Turning Point is engaged in a cover-up. That is how I feel, okay? And like I said, it pains me to say that because this was once a bright spot in the conservative movement. It is no longer. They are using left-wing tactics, calling us names rather than answering us questions. It's everything Charlie stood against, okay? You don't need to call somebody a racist because they're asking questions about what happened with George Floyd leading up to his death, okay? That is a way that you skip over having to debate logically, is you name call. All Blake Neff did was name call yesterday. All the pastors have been doing, it's demonic, it's possessed, it's evil. How about you simply answer the questions and stop behaving like you're a radical leftist everyone can see what you're doing. That's what I want you guys to know. It's very clear, okay? I'm not asking people to defend me. You are just genuinely this transparent. So I am sorry that I cannot arrive in person because it's our last week on air before the holidays. I am still very happy, and I will say it again, to make that date and time and place, because I'm here and we have the technological capabilities to make it so, make it work. We can move it around and we can do it even at midnight. I will stay awake and I will make that work for you at midnight, anytime. Just send me a link. In the meantime, we are just going to start investigating harder because you're not acting right, okay? You guys are not acting right, and you are not going to be able to get yourselves out of it by trying to be tricky like that. And like I said, the fact that you mentioned the Egyptian planes so many times yesterday without providing a valid answer or reason as to why we should just ignore military planes that are circulating that don't belong to our country, we're going to stay focused on that. And guess what? We have some more explosive revelations, which lead to more questions, which should be answered. And by the way, Turning Point, you should be concerned about. How odd, guys, that they're not concerned about the Egyptian planes. They don't even know how to feign concern. They don't even know how to sell to us in their best acting that they care about what transpired on that day. If you wanted to act like you cared, you would go, yeah, no, that is actually weird. I wonder what those planes are about. Instead, they're like, ha ha ha, Egyptian planes. What, we've had to endure this crazy talk about these Egyptian planes. You should be concerned. And I'm going to give more cause for concern, okay? As you guys will recall, 2 Egyptian planes, got it. For the sake of ease, we've labeled one blue, that's SUBND, which was the one that was transponding on the ground at Duncan Aviation on the day of Charlie's assassination, but it did not go anywhere. And then, of course, our now infamous yellow plane that carried on to Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware that morning, and has seemingly panicked the world, right? I'm reminding you that that flight from Provo to Delaware on the yellow plane had only 4 people on board. Okay, so that plane pretty much emptied out and then had only 4 people, one of which was a foreign dignitary. Now, one of those individuals I can confirm was using the name, and when I say using the name, we are dealing with governments, we are dealing with power, and these people just print passports, okay? These are obviously dead ends. But the name that one of those individuals was using is Walid Mahmoud. Okay, Walid Mahmoud. So we now know that of the 4 people that flew to Delaware, someone flew using the name Walid Mahmoud. Okay, here is where it's going to get interesting, and I don't know if we can show that name, Chris, if we have that, but we can spell it out for them. I don't know if we have a graphic for that. But here's where it gets interesting. Okay, Walid Mahmoud had been in Provo before. Okay, specifically, Walid Mahmoud came to Provo on May 27th of this year. Walid Mahmoud came in, and we can also confirm that if you look up the plane that he was on, there is no transponder data which reflects that trip. He was not on the yellow plane. This is what's very interesting. He was aboard another Egyptian military plane, and the tail number for that plane is SUBTU. We're gonna make that the purple plane, okay? Purple plane was not there on the day of Charlie's assassination, but we now have a person that was on that purple plane at the end of May, and then he is going to be on that plane again on the day of Charlie's assassination, both times in Provo. And we can drop that now into our timeline, okay? May 27th, SUBTU flies into Provo. Walid Mahmoud aboard. Maybe it's a pilot, I don't know. Then we've got it departs on June 2nd, and it is not transponding, okay? So you cannot find a record of this on flight radar. Now, why is this compelling? Why is this especially compelling? Because the purple plane, SUBTU, as has been recently discovered by the work of other people, was once upon a time flown with the president of Egypt aboard. And by once upon a time, I mean back in 2023. This tweet came from Project Constitution. I'm going to read it in its entirety, okay? Confirmed. Candace Owens just got vindicated again. The Egyptian government website confirms that Egyptian President El-Sisi flew on SUBTU. Remember when Candace Owens dropped that bombshell exposing that Egyptian presidential plane as the mystery bird tied to those shadowy flights, and just, you know, he's confusing BTT. He's talking about BTU. We were always talking about BTT. Well, official receipts just landed straight from the Egyptian presidency website that on April 3rd, 2023, President El-Sisi touched down in Riyadh aboard that same exact aircraft, tail number SUBTU, for a high-level sit-down with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, okay? So BTU. And again, he's mixing it up with BTT, but we can now connect these two planes. Now, before you jump to conclusions and go, well, does this solve this? Does this mean that this was the Egyptian president on board? No. We can actually officially rule out that it was President El-Sisi that was aboard the jet on September 10th because he was photographed at a meeting with the Prime Minister of Tunisia, Sarah Zafrani, and it was in Egypt. We can also rule him out as having been the individual that was in Provo back in May because he was, again, photographed multiple times throughout that week in Egypt, okay? What we can, however, deduce is that Walid Mahmoud is therefore not the president of Egypt, but he is almost certainly well acquainted with the president of Egypt because planes that fly presidents around, military planes, you're not gonna just, let just some random wealthy Egyptian aboard your jet, right? This person is going to be well acquainted with the president of Egypt, okay? So who is Walid Mahmoud? Who is the person using the name Walid Mahmoud? That is the question that we are left with. Now, again, maybe Walid is the pilot. That could make sense. But what was he or she doing in Provo at the end of May and into early June? These are questions and, honestly, concerns that shouldn't be expressed by me. It should be expressed by every single person at Turning Point USA who is interested in getting to the bottom of who assassinated Charlie Kirk. It should be expressed by our government. It should be expressed by Pentagon and their giggly press secretary and press members. We should be
hazard reported ahead.
Instead, we're just being gaslit. Everything was so above board on the day of Charlie's assassination that they just can't answer anything. They just cannot answer a single question that we have, and they can't explain why they keep getting caught in little lies. They can't explain that. We're just all ridiculous, and we're harming Charlie's legacy by doing the very thing that Charlie was doing when he died, right? He is responding to questions. He literally died answering questions from people that disagreed with him. And they're not trying to invert reality and make it seem as though asking uncomfortable questions is not something that Charlie would have done. Pointedly ridiculous. And again, ever so
speed camera ahead.
I don't think they're going to be laughing long because I do think that we are getting close. Alright, you guys, this holiday season, express your love with a very special gift of premium steaks from Riverbend Ranch. Their holiday bundles are only available while supplies last, and they're going to go pretty fast. For health, and that is Dose. Dose is a powerful, all-in-one wellness shot that helps support gut health, immunity, energy, and all the stuff that really matters when you plunge participants. One shot of Dose for your liver is equivalent to 17 shots of turmeric juice. DoseDaily.co/Candace. That's dosedaily.co/Candace for 35% off your first month subscription. But again, I'd like to stress to Turning Point USA that if you want to make this work, we can do this today, we can do this tonight, we can do this at 1 a.m., we can do this tomorrow, the next day, we can do this through the end of the year. Anytime, okay? Just send me a link and we will appear virtually, which is entirely plausible. This is something that we desperately want. We are incredibly committed and sincere in wanting to get answers. We do not believe the official narrative. I've made that clear. And we do not understand why you guys seem to be trying to protect the official narrative as opposed to joining us in prodding it, okay? I am just saying how the entire world feels. I'm giving voice to how the entire world feels outside of your donor class. Anyways, it's pretty obvious the call went out. Again, this was some sort of a PR maneuver. That's why they're sending out Cam Higbee. They're laughing at everything that we say, everything that we do. That's kind of their new shtick, is like, we're the cool kids, we're just gonna laugh at you, you know? Trying desperately right now, clearly, to turn my very real claim that the country of France tried to assassinate me into a joke. The Zio influencers are supposed to influence people into thinking that that is just so crazy and funny. It's so funny. And hopefully with enough of them going out and making videos and peddling the same talking point and trying to turn it into like a cultural joke, you're supposed to ignore the fact that, hey, isn't it kind of strange that neither the White House or the Elysee Palace or even the United States Pentagon has formally denied this quote-unquote crazy claim? That's what Hollywood's for, right? You, all of you at home, all across the world, you're supposed to be fat and dumb and easily influenced by celebrities. Because, like, don't you have any famous friends? Does Candace even have any famous friends? Like, don't you want to be cool? Do you want to hang out with famous people? Famous people say that assassination attempt is just funny. That's just like an SNL bit. Anyways, the always relatable Ben Shapiro is trying his luck at humor as well regarding my assassination.